Hey everybody, we are taking a look here at two different models. One is this dude with a bunch of nerves showing, and the other is this fine rack of ribs. You can see the brain up here and spinal cord and spinal nerves branching off of it. We'll be looking at these two different models to show off different parts of the spinal cord and different spinal nerves. Let's start with this model here. So you can see that the person is looking that way, but their body's facing towards us, so this is anterior. You can see the pons and the medulla, cerebellum. The medulla continues onto the spinal cord, and it continues on down. This doesn't show the cervical enlargement or lumbosacral enlargement all that well. This other one does, so we'll get to that later. But we do see the cauda equina down here, all these spinal nerves that are branching down. What we can also see really well on this model are the plexuses. Up here, we have the cervical plexus. This nerve right here is supposed to be the phrenic nerve. Not the most prominent on this model, but it'll be more prominent on the other model. We've got the cervical plexus, brachial plexus. This is the lumbar plexus. We'll talk about the femoral nerve. And then here's the sacral plexus. Here's that here's the sacral nerve. Lumbar plexus, sacral plexus. Over here on this model, you can see parts of the brain, the olfactory bulbs, optic chiasm, and so on, pons, medulla. This is the anterior side. So this long line is the anterior median sulcus, where that blood vessel fits in. If you were to take a cross-section, you'd see this. This is the anterior median sulcus. Sorry, anterior median fissure. Anterior median fissure. That is a fissure because it's very deep. This is a sulcus, the posterior median sulcus, anterior median fissure. All right, back to here. Anterior median fissure runs all the way down the spinal cord. Up here we have our cervical plexus, and we can see the phrenic nerve coming down here. It would come down to the diaphragm. The phrenic nerve innervates the diaphragm. The hypoglossal nerve and the accessory nerve, 11 is accessory, 12 is hypoglossal. They're also part of this cervical plexus. The brachial plexus you can see here, very big because you got a lot of nerves going to and from the arm. There's our brachial plexus. Over here, brachial plexus. Coming off of the brachial plexus, here on either side in the shoulder region, that's the axillary nerve. Coming towards the brachial region, we're innervating muscles like the biceps brachii and the brachialis. You have the musculocutaneous. It's this one that's coming right here, musculocutaneous. Over here, it's this one. Just the reason why these two sides differ is because this one is showing the hand in anatomical position. This one is with the radius and ulna pronated. You've got the radio-ulnar joint pronated here. Right. Axillary musculocutaneous. It's twisted here, so I'll show this one. This is the thumb side. This is the radial nerve. And so on the pinky side, we have the ulnar nerve. Going down the middle, that's the median nerve. And the median nerve runs through the carpal tunnel. You can see tendons here in the middle of my wrist. That's running through the carpal tunnel. The median nerve is what gets damaged in carpal tunnel syndrome because you have compression of this nerve. There's no bone protecting it. It's on top of the bone, or anterior to the bone, I should say. So 5 nerves of the arm that I want you to know: axillary, musculocutaneous, radial, median, ulnar. Getting to the lower caudal plexuses, this is the lumbar plexus. And the major nerves coming from the lumbar plexus are the femoral nerve and the obturator nerve. The femoral nerve is coming out here and going in front of the iliac crest to the anterior femoral region. This is the femoral nerve. On this model over here, here's that lumbosacral enlargement with the, what am I trying to say? Here's the lumbar plexus, and this big nerve going in front of the iliac crest, this is the femoral nerve. It's going to supply the anterior femoral region, like your quadriceps muscles, for instance. That's a femoral nerve. On this model, we can see the obturator nerve. So if this is femoral, which is anterior thigh, the obturator goes through the obturator foramen. Remember, there's Napoleon Bonaparte. Here is our obturator foramen. Because if we have a nerve coming from the spinal cord out this way, it's going to go to the medial thigh. You can see it going through the obturator foramen. The obturator nerve would be here. So we're going to get the adductor muscles. On our model here, it's coming down. It's this one. It's branching, but this major nerve that's leading to these other branches, that's the obturator nerve, supplying the muscles for adduction of the hip, of the femoroacetabular joint. Finally, we have the sacral plexus, and the major nerve of the sacral plexus is the sciatic nerve. The sciatic nerve goes behind the coxal bone, or more accurately, it goes posterior. It fits in this greater sciatic notch of the coxal bone, and it comes down in the posterior leg. So that's why on this model it's shown as going behind this bone. Femoral is going in front of the bone, sciatic is going behind. It's a very big, long nerve going all the way down the leg. Over here, here's the sacrum, and you can see the sacral plexus. This large nerve is going to go through going to go in this sciatic notch and going to go down the back of the leg, posterior leg. The sciatic nerve will branch into the tibial nerve. Note that the leg is externally rotated. That's why we're seeing the medial foot. So this is the tibial nerve. This is the common fibular. Those are the two branches that I want you to know. Tibial, which supplies the anterior part of the crural region. Common fibular is more lateral, and a bit of the sural region, the calf region. Oh, and on this side, because we have our foot nearly anatomical position, this is the tibial nerve, tibial, common fibular. On this model, once again, I'm going to show different parts of the spinal cord. We've got an enlargement right here. This is the cervical enlargement. It gets narrow in the thoracic region, and then it gets bigger again. That's the lumbosacral enlargement. Here's the conus medullaris, and then the spinal nerves coming off. That's the cauda equina. The very thin line in the middle, just that middle line, that's made of pia mater. That's a filum terminale. It goes all the way down to the coccyx. It secures the spinal cord all the way down. But we can see that the spinal cord ends around L1, L2. Spinal cord ends around L1, L2. All right, hope that helps. Check out other videos for more nerves, because we've got lots of models that show off nerves.